The settlement had been silent for 3 cycles when the Vraken pack found it. Dust swirled through the broken structures, carrying the acrid tang of burned metal and something else. Something organic that made the adults' sensory ridges flatten against their skulls. The cubs, however, bounded ahead with the fearless curiosity of youth, their chittering calls echoing through the abandoned human outpost. "Stay close," growled Thex, the pack leader, his 4 eyes scanning the wreckage. Humans were supposed to be soft things, fragile and slow, yet they'd carved settlements into 17 Vraken worlds before the Convergence had even noticed. Before the purge, little Skiri ignored his father's warning as usual. The cub's claws clicked against scorched metal as he scrambled up a collapsed wall. Something glinted in the rust-colored dust ahead, smooth, reflective, foreign. "Mine," Skiri yipped, pouncing on the object. It was a helmet, human-made, by the strange angular design and the transparent face shield now cracked like a spider's web. Skiri lifted it with both paws, surprised by its weight. Inside, the padding was dark with old blood. "Put that down," Thex snapped. But Skiri was already placing it on his head. The helmet was far too large, sliding down over his eyes. The cub staggered, chittering with delight. "Look, I'm human. I'm the apex predator." The other cubs erupted in mocking laughter. Humans, apex predators? The soft-skinned things that needed machines to breathe on most worlds? The ones that died when you tore them open just like everything else? But Thex didn't laugh. He'd seen the footage from the border wars. He'd watched humans fight. "Skiri, remove it now." The cub tilted the helmet back, peering out from underneath. "But father, it makes me strong." "Look, I'm Lenara, the human warrior who killed 50 Vraken with her bare claws before—" "Silence!" Thex's roar shook dust from the ruins. The name hung in the air like smoke. Lenara. Even the cubs had heard the stories, though they thought them exaggerations. The human female who'd held the Kassar Ridge alone for 6 days. Who'd lost her squad, lost her weapons, lost everything, but hadn't lost the ridge. "That's just a story," one of the other cubs whispered. "Stories don't leave corpses," Thex said quietly. "Come, we leave this place." But Skiri clutched the helmet tighter. Through the cracked visor, he could see strange symbols etched into the interior. Human writing, and something else. Dark stains that formed patterns like the cub had seen in holy caves. Handprints, made in blood. "She painted in here," Skiri said, his voice suddenly small. Why would she paint inside her own helmet? Thex approached slowly, his aggression melting into something else. Something like respect? "Because she knew she would die," he said. "Humans do this. They leave marks, so their pack remembers." He took the helmet carefully from his son's paws, holding it up to the fading light. The handprints were small, smaller than his own paw, delicate, fragile, and yet. The report said she held this position with 19 rounds of ammunition. Thex continued, his voice taking on the cadence of a teaching story. "When those ran out, she used her blade. When that broke, she used rocks. When those were gone," he traced the edge of the helmet, "she used this. As a weapon. A helmet." Skiri's voice was skeptical. "How?" "The third wave found 7 Vraken with shattered skulls. The forensics matched this helmet's edge. She beat them to death with the armor meant to protect her own head." The cubs had gone silent now, forming a circle around their father. Even the wind seemed to pause, listening. When the 4th wave breached her position, they found her still standing. No weapon, no armor, just... Thex gestured to the ruins around them. This was her final stand. "They say it took 43 shots to bring her down. She refused to fall. But we won," one cub said softly. "Didn't we? The humans are gone." Thex's laugh was bitter. "We claimed their worlds." "But winning?" He set the helmet down on a flat piece of rubble, almost reverently. "You don't win against humans, cub. You just survive them." Skiri crept forward, reaching out to touch the helmet again, but differently now. Not as a toy, as something else. "What happened to her pack?" he asked. "Did they come back for her?" "They tried," Thex said. 3 ships broke through the blockade. The evacuation shuttles came in under fire, searching for survivors. But Lenara, he paused. She activated a distress beacon that led them away from her position. Made them think the survivors were in the southern valley. By the time they realized her deception, the Convergence fleet had arrived. "She saved them," Skiri whispered. "By lying." "She saved them by dying," Thex corrected. "Alone in the dust, so that 83 humans could escape. The human way, trade one for many. They choose this. The pack stood in silence as the last light of the day bled away. In the gathering darkness, the helmet seemed to glow with its own light. Or perhaps that was just the reflection of the setting sun on the cracked visor. Scary reached out one more time, his paw trembling. May I keep it, Father? Tex considered this. By rights, they should destroy all human artifacts. Convergence protocol demanded it. But something in his son's voice, a new note of understanding, of reverence, made him hesitate. Why? He asked simply. Scary met his father's 4 eyes with his own young gaze. So I remember. That soft doesn't mean weak. That small doesn't mean helpless. He touched the helmet gently. That humans die like anyone else. But they choose how. Tex felt something shift in his chest, a sensation he couldn't name. Pride? Fear? Recognition? Keep it, he said finally. Wear it when you doubt yourself. When you think survival is enough. He looked back at the ruins one last time. Let it remind you that somewhere in this galaxy, there are creatures so terrifying, so relentless, that they'll turn even their protection into a weapon. That they'll die alone in the dust rather than abandon their principles. As the pack moved away from the settlement, Scary carried the helmet carefully, cradled in his arms like something precious. Behind them, the wind picked up, whispering through the ruins. And if the dust swirled in patterns that looked almost like handprints on stone, almost like a small human standing watch over empty ground, well, the Vraken didn't believe in ghosts, but they believed in Lenara, and that perhaps was more dangerous.